Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today's tutorial is this super pretty wrap. This is known as the tulip stitch, but I am referring to it as the rose wrap. Now, the reason I want to do that is because my daughter's middle name is Rose, my stepdaughter's middle name is Rose, and my favorite flower is a rose, and I have like 6 tattoos of roses. So we're turning the tulip stitch into the rose stitch. So this wrap measures 60 inches long by 21 inches high. So 60 by 21. And oh, is this pretty. And you know, so bad did I want to do each row, the rows a different color. But I thought, no, I don't want to, because it's going to be a lot of different colors that I don't have. But now, oh, do I wish I would have, because this thing is so pretty. I love this. Now, we do have 3 different colors here. For the brown shade, I wanted to go something that was close to a fence row color. So I went with Red Heart Super Saver in the color Buff. Now you're going to need 2 of these. And then for the red, I used Red Heart Super Saver in the color Cherry Red, and you're going to need 2 of those. And then for the green, I wanted a green that really popped. I didn't want a neon green, and I didn't want like a darker shade of green. So I really liked the color of Mainstay's Basic Yarn from Walmart in the color just regular green. I liked the way that made the red pop. So that's why I chose that. And you're only going to need 1 of those. Okay, you're going to need your 6mm hook. You need your needle, weave in your ends, your scissors, your hook, and your yarn. So we're going to get all that stuff together and come back here, and we are going to get started. Okay, so to get started, the stitch multiple for this tulip stitch is any multiple of 3. So 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. And to make the wrap, you're going to need to chain 231. Now that should get you to your 60 inches long. But for my little swatch here, I just got a chain of, I think 12. I don't remember now. But we're going to start with the fence row color, and that's going to be our color B. So we're going to start by half double crochet in the second chain from hook. So not the hook that's butted up right there against our hook, the next one. And if you guys hear that, that is actually a crop dusting plane that is dusting the field behind us, and he is like dive bombing our house. So all right, we're gonna start with a half double crochet in the second chain from hook. Here he comes again. All right, now we're just gonna half double crochet into each chain right across. So you guys half double crochet all the way down that long chain. And trust me, I know it's a little daunting, but I promise you, once you get past that first row, get past that chain, this just works up pretty darn quick and beautiful. All right, so I've double crocheted into each one of my chains. All right, now I'm going to chain 1, and we're going to move on to row 2. So we're going to chain 1 and turn. And for row 2, we're going to half double crochet into the very first, and then we're going to half double crochet into each stitch right across, right into the top of each half double. We're just going to half double crochet. Oh, dang it. and that is row 2. So you guys get your row 2 done and come back here. All right, there's my last, nope, here's my last half double. All right, and that is the end, or well, that is row 2. And at row 2, we're gonna fasten off, chain 1, pull up a loop, snip, and we're gonna start with our green. Now the green, we're gonna turn our work and we're gonna attach to the very first. Get my green out here. All right, so what we've done is we worked row 2, worked into that last half double with a half double, chain 1, fasten off, and then turn. Set it down, get your green, get a slip knot on your hook, and we are going to go into that very first stitch with a slip stitch. Now I'm just going to tighten that down by pulling on the tail and holding that slip knot. Chain 1, and we're going to double crochet right back into there. Okay. Now we're going to chain 1. We're going to skip the next half double and we're going to V-stitch into the next. Now the V-stitch is a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. So we have our first double, skip the next, into the next. We're going to work our V-stitch, which is a double, chain 1, and a double right back in there. And there's our V-stitch. Okay, now what you're going to repeat all across your wrap is skip the next 2. So skip, skip, and then we're going to V-stitch into the next. Double, chain 1, and a double. Skip 2, V-stitch into the next. Double, chain 1, and a double. Skip 2, V-stitch in the next. Skip 2, V-stitch in the next. Repeat that all the way across your wrap, and when you get to the end, we're going to skip the next, and we're going to double crochet, we're going to chain 1, and then double crochet into the last. Sorry about that. So we double into it, we attach, chain 1, double crochet right back into that first stitch. Chain 1, skip, V-stitch into the next. And now here's your repeat. Skip 2, V-stitch into the next. Skip 2, V-stitch into the next. Skip 2, V-stitch into the next. Repeat that all the way down your block until you have the last 2 half doubles. You're going to chain 1, skip the next, and double crochet into the last half double. So you're going to repeat that all the way across your wrap. When you get to the end, we're going to fasten off. We're going to chain 1, pull up a loop, and cut. Now I highly suggest that you guys weave in your ends as you go, because it can get a little overwhelming by the time you get to the end. You're like, wow, I've got a lot of ends to weave in. So I do it as you go, but it's up to you. All right, so now we are going to attach our red, the bright red. All right, so to recap what we've done, we've worked our row 3, we've got to the end, and we fasten off. Now you don't turn, just set it down. Okay, so now we take our red, get a slip knot on our hook, and then we're going to come over to the right of our work, and we're going to attach into that very first double crochet. Okay? Now we're going to chain 1 and we're going to double crochet right back into that first double. All right, now we are going to chain 1, and we're going to work our cluster into the chain 1 of the V-stitch. And our cluster, we yarn over, go into that V-stitch, pull up a loop, and pull that up to about the height of a double. And we're going to do that for a total of 9 times. So that's 1, yarn over, go in, pull up a loop to the height of a double. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, I'm sorry, not 9 times. We're going to do that 4 times for a total of 9 loops on our hook. I got 4 times for 9 loops. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And now we yarn over and pull through all 9 of those loops and chain 1. And that's our cluster. Don't forget that chain 1 at the end of your cluster, okay? And now we chain 1 and we start that repeat over again. Cluster into the next V-stitch. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 9 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through all 9, chain 1. Then we chain 1 again, because remember that first chain 1 is actually part of the cluster. The chain 1 is the next part of the stitch pattern. So you chain 1 to close your cluster, chain 1, and now we cluster into the next V-stitch. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yarn over, pull through all 9 of your loops, chain 1, and then we chain 1 to move on. So you repeat that with the cluster into each V-stitch all the way across. Remember, chain 1 at the end of your cluster, then chain 1 to move over. Okay, so you repeat that across. And when you get to the end, you work that last cluster into your last V-stitch, chain 1. Now remember, there's 2 chains there. Chain 1 is the first chain 1 is part of your cluster. The second chain 1 is the stitch pattern. We move over and we double crochet into that very last double. Get off there. And that is the repeat of row 4. Cluster, chain 1, which is really chain 2 because you got a chain at the end of your cluster. Cluster into the next V-stitch, chain 1, cluster into the next V-stitch, all the way across to your last V-stitch, work a cluster, chain 1, double crochet into your last double. So you're going to work that all the way across, and once you get to the end, we are going to chain 1 and we're going to fasten off. All right, now don't turn. We don't turn, we just set it down, okay? And we are going to get our buff. Get a slip knot on our hook. We're going to attach into that very first double crochet with the slip stitch, chain 1, and we are going to half double crochet right back into that double crochet we attached to. Now we're going to half double crochet into our chain space, and we're going to half double crochet into the top of that cluster. Now if you look, you see where the legs of all of the stitches in that cluster come together? That's right where that chain is at the end of the cluster. That's where we want to half double crochet into. So half double crochet right where all those legs come together. And then we're going to work 2 half doubles into the next chain. 1 and 2. And then half double into the top of the cluster, right where all those legs come together. 2 half doubles into the next chain space. And that's the repeat all the way across. 2 half doubles into the chain space, half double into the top of the cluster. 2 into the chain space, 1 in a cluster. 2 in the chain space, 1 in the cluster. Repeat that all the way across, and we're going to end with a half double in the last cluster, 1 double into the last chain, and then a half double into the last double crochet. And that is row 5. Okay, and so for row 6, we're just going to chain 1. And this time we do turn and we work a half double into each half double all the way across. And that is our pattern. You repeat rows. You repeat rows 3 through 6. Sorry, you guys, that plane is getting a little annoying. So, at row 6 is just a repeat of row 2. So you work row 2, fasten off, and then move on to row 3. So you just keep repeating rows 3 through 6, 3 through 6, all the way until you get to the height of 21 inches. Now, you don't have to do 21 inches. You can do whatever you want to do. It's all up to you. Fasten off, weave in all your ends, and you get this beautiful piece. It's upside down. All right. That is it for me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you so very much for taking the time out of your day just to watch something I threw together. I really appreciate it. I hope each and every one of you know that. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't. Hit that thumbs up button. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you guys think. Go into the description box where I got some links to my Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. So if you make this, you can tag me in it. And if you join that Facebook group, you can post a picture of it. Because I would love to see somebody make this with a different color rows on each row. Or maybe, 4 different colors. I think that'd be so pretty. Anyway, thank you guys so very much for watching. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.